welcome to this edition of Broome Up Front. I'm your host, Jess. Today we have a great show for you. We are joined by a professional dermatologist who will be talking about skincare and demonstrating real procedures and techniques. Before we begin, I'll be asking our guest a few questions. Everyone, please welcome Colleen Crandall. Welcome to the show, Colleen.
Thank you, Jess.
Of course. So Colleen, what made you decide to become a dermatologist?
I decided to become a dermatologist in medical school because I wanted to specialize in a field of medicine and focus on the skin, hair, and nails.
That's amazing. How many years of school did you complete?
I completed 14 years of schooling after high school.
Wow. What was the hardest part of becoming a doctor?
The hardest part was completing 14 years of school into my 30s and owing over $300,000 in medical school loans.
I could imagine. So what kind of patients do you typically treat?
So in dermatology, we're fortunate to be able to treat patients of all ages and all skin types, so it's super rewarding.
Okay. Have you ever caught skincare early and helped save someone's life?
Yeah, I diagnose skin cancer every day, and so lots of times we save people's lives by finding early melanoma.
Okay. So with regular skincare, do you think expensive skincare products really are better than affordable ones?
Not necessarily. Some of the better products are very inexpensive over-the-counter cosmetic products.
Okay. How can people protect their skin from long-term damage?
So they can use sunblock and avoid sunburn.
Okay. So with cosmetics, what area of the face are most commonly treated with Botox?
So Botox is used to treat wrinkles in the forehead, between the eyebrows and the 11 lines, and the crow's feet.
What keeps you passionate about your work?
I'm super passionate about my job because I am fortunate to be in a field where everything is new all the time. We learn new procedures, new techniques as medicine advances, and it's super stimulating.
Sounds very complex. And lastly, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to go into dermatology?
So if I wanted to be a dermatologist today, or someone came to me and asked me how they could pursue it, I would tell them to study very hard in college and medical school, because you really need to be in the top of your class, because dermatology is probably the most competitive field of medicine.
I'm sure it takes a lot of hard work and drive.
It does.
I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
Is sunscreen really that important?
So sunscreen is important, but the part about avoiding sun that's most important is sunblock. So sunscreens can or cannot contain physical blockers, and those are the most important way to prevent sunburn.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have for now, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we'll take a closer look at real dermatology techniques and procedures. We'll be right back after a short break.
This past Friday, the annual Hockey for Hope Paint the Ice event took place in the Broome Ice Center. We were able to catch up with the creator of the Constance Foundation, which hosts the event, Brian Lang.
The reason I started the foundation was because of my Aunt Patty, who passed away of breast cancer in 06. But it wasn't until 2012 when we organized it into an actual nonprofit. But in 2009 when we started Hockey for Hope. So Hockey for Hope came first as a charity game, and then the nonprofit came second. It's just kind of all fell into place.
Since its beginnings in 2009, attendance to the Hockey for Hope game has been growing exponentially.
We had maybe 30 people in the stands to where now we range anywhere from 500 to, I think the one year we had about 800 people show up, which was pretty cool.
We spoke with Tom Forbes, who is a player in the Hockey for Hope game. He told us what the event is and what it means to those affected.
We're painting the ice in remembrance for those that have passed hit with hockey from cancer, and also those that are still battling cancer. So it's kind of like inspirational, I don't want to say quotes, but inspirational messages for our loved ones and those that we know.
Tom loves to participate in the game. He shares what it is like on game day.
The game is awesome. It's like the best in the world. They treat you like the pros. You know, you have your own locker room. You got all the swag that you get to take home after the game, and we wear jerseys with the name of the people that we skate for is on the back of our jersey.
The charity game took place on Saturday night. If you weren't there to check in on the action, be sure to go next year. Reporting from Broome, Noah Maney.
Welcome back. Now it's time to go hands-on as we take a closer look at real dermatology techniques and how they're done. Colleen, show them how it's done.
Thanks, Jess. So I'm going to talk about some of the more common things we do as dermatologists. And probably one of the most common things we do is treat acne. So in dermatology, we prescribe multiple medications for acne, including creams, oral medications like antibiotics and Accutane. And then one of the best techniques we can do for people who have cystic acne, which can leave scarring, is we can use things like intralesional steroids that we draw up and we inject into a pimple or cyst. And these contain anti-inflammatory properties that shrink the cyst to prevent scarring, and they resolve typically within 24 hours. We also do tons of surgical procedures in dermatology. So when patients come into our offices, they often come for skin checks and for a history of skin cancer. So if we find something that's suspicious on the skin, we do a biopsy where we inject some numbing and we take a little piece of skin with a blade, and then we place that into a specimen bottle, which goes to a pathology lab, and a dermatopathologist tells us the diagnosis within about 3 to 5 days. If the diagnosis comes back positive, which they usually do, then we call the patients and schedule them for an excision, which means we're going to remove surgically their skin cancer. So if it's on the face, we usually make a football-shaped excision and we cut that out. And then we have to stitch that together. So when we suture, it requires a bottom layer of sutures and a top layer of sutures. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate putting an epidermal suture into the skin. So we take a bite of tissue on each side, and then we pull the thread through, and we make square knots. And then those sutures usually stay about 7 days. The patients return to the office to get their sutures out, and we make sure in the pathology report that their skin cancer has been completely cleared. And then the last part of dermatology, which is probably the funnest, is cosmetic dermatology. So we do lots of cosmetic products like Botox, where Botox is a neurotoxin, so we draw it up into a needle and we use it to treat areas to get rid of or reduce wrinkles in the forehead, in the glabellar complex, and around the eyes into the crow's feet. So we inject it into the muscle, and within about 7 days, that muscle can't contract, so there's tightening and lifting of the skin. In the crow's feet, we're injecting the orbicularis oculi muscle, and then that is going to flatten out that area and tighten it so the crow's feet go away.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Colleen, for coming in and showing us these techniques today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jess.
If you're due for a skin check, don't forget to schedule an appointment with Dr. Colleen Crandall at Schweiger Dermatology in Enville, New York. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Broome Up Front.